Hey, what's up, folks? Welcome back to On Texas Football. Welcome back to the Winning Drive, the primetime edition. I'm lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers. Pleased to be joined by another lifetime Longhorn, the young prodigy himself, C.J. Vogel, and also joined by our own coach, former high school football coach at Burnet, Capel, Brownwood, Belton, Rotan. Also played college football at Abilene Christian, coached there as well, and was on the staff at the University of Texas for multiple head football coaches. These days, you can catch his work. Boom, right there. See that? ShipleyRanches.com. It's our own Coach Bob Shipley. What's going on, Coach? How you feeling?
I like it. It.
Oh, baby. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you represent? No, it's all good, man. Just kind of getting over COVID, you know. It's no big deal anymore. Kind of like a head cold. All good.
Yeah, toughed it out. But hey, we appreciate all you guys joining us. We will get to the big news on the 40 Acres. The Longhorns do have a new commitment to talk about. So we'll dive into that. Also, there's I want to get into this Matt Miller. Matt Miller does a great job, draft analyst for ESPN. He's got a 2-round mock draft. You guys know I'm a mock slut around this time of year. I'll bring up a lot of mocks. It's the way I am. But only thing got some Longhorns in. I'm just going to bring up random mocks. Are you trying to focus on the Longhorns who will get drafted? So it's a 2-round mock draft out. We'll get to that too coming up on the show. But of course, the show belongs to you. It's a show of the people, for the people, and by the people. So throw out your questions, comments. We'll try to address as many of them as we can. Super chats always jump to the front of the line, and you can interrupt the show at any time. Just throw out a super chat. But let's start it out, gentlemen. Let's not waste any time. There is reason to celebrate. Longhorns get a commitment in the 2027 class, correct? They get a linebacker. I make sure I pronounce his name right. Is it Kade Haug, CJ?
Kade Haug.
Okay, Kade Haug. Simple.
Yeah, no, talented player, a lot of production in his 3 years over at Kingwood. Look, he had been a first-team all-district player for 3 consecutive years out of Kingwood. He already holds Kingwood's all-time lead for tackles for loss and tackles in general, well over 300 career tackles, and he still has a senior season still to play. So you can imagine that lead, that record is going to be pretty significant by the time that he is done. 6'1.5", 220 pounds is what he's listed at. Texas actually offered not too long ago, offered him January 28th. So he got to campus over the weekend, and as we could tell, the visit went well enough to where he made the decision to commit to the Longhorns. Of course, there were other schools involved. He had about 17 to 20 offers. I don't think that all of his offers were officially reported. Just last week alone, North Carolina, San Diego State, SMU, Arkansas. He had Utah, Nebraska, the Kansas schools, and the Arizona schools as well. So someone that over the last month or so was around, was really starting to rise on the rankings, or at least generate some buzz. But right now, a 3-star, 6'1", 220-pound linebacker with the world of production joining the Texas 2027 class.
Yeah, the production is crazy, guys. I mean, that is, as a freshman, ended up with 69 tackles, 3 sacks, interception. Then as a sophomore, ended up with 153 tackles. It's a hell of a leap. 153 tackles, 5 tackles for loss. And then as a junior, most recently, had 108 tackle season, 19 tackles for loss in that season, 3 sacks and a forced fumble in 9 games. So, yeah, the productivity, coach, is undeniable. I mean, he's all over the field, and he makes he finds the football. It's just that simple. Like, he finds the football. He's got a nose and good instincts to find the football.
Yeah, he's a Dukes of Hazzard. They call him Boss Hog, I bet. You remember that?
Well done.
CJ, that may be before your time, but I know you know Daisy Duke.
Yeah, I understand that one, Coach. Give me some credit on
Boss
that one.
Hog. Yeah,
I know that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he is an explosive player. There's no doubt about that. This is actually, I haven't seen him before, but he's incredibly active. Got a nose for the football, of course.
Yeah. Yep, I think I like my linebackers to have good instincts, and he does seem to have good instincts as a linebacker, and I think that's important in this day and age. So, I love the productivity from the young man. That is crazy to have over 300 tackles and going into your senior season. Like, that is, I gotta be thinking. I don't even know what we're talking about, state records. What are state records for tackles? You got to be approaching something like a city record or something. Like, that's what, because that means he's gonna get a 400 tackle career.
Yeah,
right?
this isn't 2A or 3A football either.
No,
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know. I guess I gotta go look at the records because didn't Jermaine Bishop recently set like Houston receiving records like in a season, something like that? I don't know what they are, but I don't. This young man might be approaching it. That's
it was
just
a lot. That play right there. I know that we talked 6'1.5", 220 pounds. He's in that range. He ran 11.3 as a sophomore a year ago. Obviously, that's expected to rise his junior year coming up here in a month or two. And then we'll see, obviously, where he gets or goes as from an athletic perspective moving forward into a senior year. But the production speaks for itself. I want to mention this as well because it was pointed out to me in the DMs by a good friend. His cousin, Hunter Haug, is another big-time player out of Smithson Valley in San Antonio. He's a 2028 playmaker. He does everything. One of those guys that is playing safety or corner or wide receiver or running back. He'll throw a pass. He'll punt. He'll kick. He'll return. He's on the radar for the Longhorns in the class of 2028 as well. Hunter Haug is his name, out of Smithson Valley. So I wanted to mention that, but it's an athletic family, clearly. And you see one right there blocking a kick. That's not an easy thing to do. That is an 11.3 flat in the 100-meter for Kade Haug out of Kingwood. Oh, by the way, Kingwood is also home to Kennedy Brown, one of the big 5-star prospects. I think he's more of a 4-star plus to talk about Jerry's grading system. He's out of the Kingwood High as well. So the two are teammates. And right now, Texas A&M, Oklahoma, Texas Tech will be all in the race for Kennedy Brown, the 2027, one of the higher rated offensive tackles in the state of Texas.
All right. Nice breakdown. Appreciate that, CJ. Good stuff. All right. So congratulations to the young man, Kade Haug, who is now the latest member of that 2027 class. And how many we got? Is there 5 or 6? How many are in that class? 5 of them, right?
5 of them now. Yep.
Okay.
I got a good start in Houston, Rod. I know that's something you like to see, but you get Greedy James already in the fold. Yeah. I mean, you're starting, I would say, somewhat of a nice trend already when it comes to Houston area commitments in the class. But yeah, Easton Royal, Louisiana, you got JT Girachi out of New Jersey, and Cam Hall is out of Mansfield. So 2 of the 5 already with Houston ties.
I like that. I do. I know they've been trying to get their market share of DFW, and that's been a main focus. But I like when they start getting guys out of H-Town, man. Tons of talent in both of those places. You really can. That can be pretty much half your roster could just be Houston, Dallas, and Austin, and Central Texas.
Yeah.
Austin, but Central Texas. The way Central Texas is blowing up, it really could be that Central Texas area too. All right, before we get to, I know we got some questions, got some other topics we'll get to. Let's thank our lead sponsor for today's program, our friends over at Vaughn Lane. We appreciate our friends at Vaughn Lane, and you will as well. They do a great job of making sure you get wherever you need to be, making sure you get there in a relaxed, luxurious fashion. That's what I love about my friends over at Vaughn Lane. And now we're done with the holidays. It's time to get back to a lot of you guys in your packed business calendars. You got to get back to the conferences and you get back to the meetings. And some of you are still flying those short routes in between major Texas cities or in the region, or driving yourself, and that can be really stressful, dealing with road rage and traffic, and you get there and you're jet lagged, or you're dealing with TSA and flight delays. You don't have to worry about that. And with Vaughn Lane, you don't have to worry about it at all, folks. They deliver a first-class travel experience on the ground. You board in minutes at a private hotel terminal. You settle into one of just 22 oversized leather seats. You enjoy complimentary Wi-Fi, snacks, beverages, hot towel service on every trip. On select departures, they even have complimentary meals. They've even upgraded their entire Wi-Fi with Starlink internet across the entire fleet to make the Wi-Fi even faster and more reliable. I've taken the Vaughn Lane several times myself. I've taken it to Houston. I've taken it to Dallas and DFW for business reasons, to go visit family. My wife has taken it several times too. Love the Vaughn Lane service, and you will as well. I'll tell you right now, if you try it out just once, you'll become a big fan like we all are over here at On Texas Football. Visit VaughnLane.com. They serve Austin, Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, Fort Worth, Plano, the Woodlands as well, Nashville, Memphis, Atlanta, and Knoxville. And if you're traveling with a team, you can charter your own Vaughn Lane coach, designing the trip from pickup to drop off. And also right now they're offering you a great deal for fans of OTF. If you use the code OTF26 at checkout, you'll receive $20 off your first trip with Von Lane. That's Von Lane, your private jet on wheels. All right, thank you to our friends over at Von Lane. All right. Is that the ball? Well done. Wow. How fast did you do that?
That is pretty darn quick, Matthew.
Is that chat? Did you use AI with this real quick? How'd you do that so fast, man?
That was amazing.
That was fast, bro. That was just doing the. When did Coach make that reference? Wait, like we 10 minutes into the show? It had to be 3 minutes ago or something like that.
I know it.
The Von Lane read wasn't that long.
Well the double works fast.
Wow.
Matthew works a little faster.
It was good quality too. Like that was pretty good quality. All right, we'll get to I got some random topics I want to bring up, but let's get to a couple of questions here. Or actually, my man CB brought up a very significant B-Day we should talk about. Happy birthday to Fozzie and Malcolm Brown. Which Malcolm Brown are we talking about? Both the running back Malcolm Brown or the D tackle?
Malachi.
Which one? D tackle Mac Brown? I got to make sure I know which one we celebrating. 2 running backs or Malcolm Brown D tackle. So CB, let me know. All right, which one it is? Because I'm unsure. But shout out to my man Fozzie, man. Fozzie does a great job. I work with Fozzie over at D tackle. CB says the D tackle. I work with Fozzie over at Third Longhorn. Fozzie is beloved, man. He's like a Longhorn icon, man. People love Fozzie. And he's working for the ESPN too, doing some games now too.
He's doing a really good job for ESPN. Yeah. He's working his way up the ladder there, as are many Longhorns. It seems like he was up at the hospital with Jordan for a long time, and we got to have a great visit. He's an exceptional young man.
He is. Agreed. I couldn't have said it better myself, Coach. He really is. So shout out to Fozzie. Happy B-Day to Foz and to Malcolm Brown, the D tackle, Malcolm Brown. Speaking of D tackle, this is kind of and I wasn't sure if usually we get joined by my man Stevie, so Stevie may still come on if he doesn't usually got something going on. But I was gonna share with him this graphic from, I believe his name is Deeg or Deej, and I'm not trying to disrespect him. I'll give him a shout out because he does great work. He actually does every year, kind of annually, he keeps up with NFL production per position based on the program that you came from. So, So he just calculates it up, and based on that, he makes his own ranking of what programs are doing the best at producing certain positions. So he makes his own QBU rankings, wide receiver U, running back U, whatever, but he does it based on strict calculate. It's all numbers. So it's based on yards, touchdowns by that, that position, and that's how he calculates it. And he was doing D-line recently. And I don't know if you have the graphic read, Matthew, but he has Texas, I believe, that has the 6th best program for producing defensive linemen. It's based on this NFL season. He does 5-year rankings too. You can go check it out. He does a really good job. This is his 2025 ranking based on NFL production, and there he has the Longhorns, 6th behind Georgia, Mississippi State. Shout out to them jumping up in there. Michigan, Alabama, and Ohio State. So some of the usual suspects, kind of what you would figure. Mississippi State's the one that kind of stands out. Shout out to the Aggies. Well, the Aggies kind of make sense. They got the defensive player of the year.
Yeah.
Von Miller, I mean, they got.
Well, that's the thing. They got, 27 and a half sacks there, Rod. I mean, one guy is producing 22 and a half of them. So that certainly helps.
That is fair. He is a freak of nature. That is a fair point, though. Good point about that. But yeah, I just wanted to throw it out because I think Sark's regime has actually done a really good job of continuing, if not helping kind of promote and increase the trend, because they've had multiple D tackles drafted for 3 straight years. They're going to have another D lineman drafted this year, hopefully with a guy like Ethan Burke. So just interesting. I want to share that. And by the way, when he narrowed this down from D line period to just D tackles, Texas rises even higher on the list. This is what I was going to give Stevie Lee some props on. I think Texas, when he does it, just D tackles only. Oh, there's Stevie right there. Boom. Perfect timing.
What's going on, guys?
What's up,
Stevie?
That's perfect timing right there. I was just talking about you and talking about. I was going to point this out to you, and I'm here, so I'm glad I pointed it out to you. First of all, Stevie, how was your weekend, brother? Thank you for joining us.
It was good, man. I had to do a volleyball tournament, or I had to go to a volleyball tournament for my youngest daughter over in College Station, man. So I was in enemy territory.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I get that. We were just talking about the Aggies, man. They keep coming up.
I drove by the stadium. I've never been there other than playing there, and it's actually a really cool little campus, or not little. It's a huge campus in a cool little town, man. It's really neat, and the stadium is beautiful.
No, it's not. It's nothing neat about it. There ain't nothing neat about it.
I'm glad the game is back. It's great for Texas. This banter is great for Texas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it is. I agree with that too. I'm with you, but I don't know. I can't say I didn't like the campus because they was my number 2 school. So I would be disingenuous if I say I didn't think it was a beautiful campus because I liked it so much. They was number 2, but y'all was number 2, not number 1.
Yeah, College
I didn't
Station.
know that, Rod. That's okay.
Yeah,
right.
I was almost an Aggie, man.
Was it number 2 because you were close to home?
Yeah, I like the Aggies wrecking crew. I mean, I was a big RC Slocum's a great man. I love me some RC Slocum.
I thought that they fired him too quick, but go ahead.
Yeah. I was a big coach. That's why I loved me some RC. And me and RC, it broke my heart to tell RC like now I'm choosing Mac over you, man. But I was really more of the program overall. But I liked RC. I liked the wrecking crew because at the time, remember they was known for great defense, wrecking crew. And remember they had just won the Big 12. I mean that was a winning. To me, kind of a winning program at the time, but thank God for Mac Brown because otherwise, dude, could you imagine my life now? I mean, I wouldn't want to. I mean, I'm sure it would be fine, but it'd just be very different. Very different.
Indeed.
Exactly. Steve, first of all, let me ask you, who you picking for the Super Bowl? Just a random football question.
That's not random. I've been talking about it. I got Seattle, man. They're playing very, very well. I think that. The Patriots against a quarterback that never started in the playoffs still almost lost. So the Seattle, I think, got a full complete team, and I think and also I don't like Sean Payton the way he did.
Russell.
Yeah, Russell. Yeah.
Yeah, he did him dirty.
Yeah, he did him dirty. I just don't like that. I'm a player's coach, I guess. So.
I got you on that.
Hey, has there been a Longhorn that's been in the NFL playing in a Super Bowl any longer than Quandre Diggs has been playing in the NFL?
Man,
guy's been playing a long time.
Long time.
He came in with my son Jackson.
Damn.
2011. 2000.
Yeah.
2011.
That is crazy. I didn't realize he'd been around that long.
You're right. He has been around. Is he on their practice squad or something for Seattle?
Oh, he can't be practice squad. He's been in too long to be practice squad.
I think they changed.
I know he's battled some injuries.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I mean that's crazy. I knew he thought about retirement because I talked to him before. I talked to him a couple of years ago, and that's when he was talking about retirement and thinking about it. So I know he's been thinking and talking about it for a couple of years. But man, as long as they'll pay you to play. Yeah, Quandre's practice squad.
I didn't know you could be the practice squad.
They changed the rules, coach. They changed it like the last.
Okay. I
won't say they changed it recently. Last CBA, they changed it where basically that's what I was like. Damn, Rob B could have been on the practice squad for 3-4 more years. I could have made a career on the practice squad.
No question.
Yeah, so that's why I know that, coach. I was thinking about myself. I was being selfish because I was making money on that practice squad, Stevie. Anyway. But let's get back to it because I want to ask you about the D-line thing. And you saw the graphic that Matthew had pulled up, and this is where Texas ranks among like 2025 D-line production in the NFL. And Matthew, would you pull up the one where he narrows it down and just D tackles? Somebody asked him like, "Is Texas D tackle you?" And he narrowed it down. And among D tackle production, man, Stevie, you ain't gonna lie, y'all position is right now I want to say it is the most successful position in terms of what Texas has been able to produce in the NFL is D tackles.
So
they're doing that. They're doing that as well, or better than they're producing any other position right now. Look at that. Mm-hmm. You look at D tackle position. So got them behind Bama.
Yeah,
that's impressive.
That's very impressive. You know, for a while, you DBs had DBU locked over here, man. But you know, D tackles need some love too, man. I mean, the big boys need love. But it makes sense to me, man. With big boys, Puna Ford that's going to be playing in the Super Bowl. Well, no, I'm sorry. Puna is not with.
No, he's not with him no more. It's Byron Murphy.
Murphy. And then we got Sweat out there. It makes perfect sense, man. We got some big boys in the middle, clogging the middle in this in the NFL right now. So it's not surprising, but and if someone said that Alabama was in front of us, I'll be like, yeah, you're right. That sounds about right. But but we look like we're a close second. So that's actually fun, man. That's a good stat to know. And who has that much time to figure all that out, man?
I watched that. Shout out to this dude. Yeah, he does a good job with that. He does all of them. I think he's got Texas DBs. I think Texas is like 7th in his DBU rankings. The running backs, I think Texas is like 8th or something like that. The running back rankings, but no, I was surprised to see and pleasantly that. But it makes sense when you start thinking about how we're celebrating Malcolm Brown's birthday today, the D tackle. We were talking about Byron Murphy and T'Vondre Sweat, 3 straight years of producing an NFL drafted, two multiple D tackles drafted into the NFL. I mean, it's just been a position that's been really successful at the University of Texas. So I wanted to give y'all some props, Stevie. That's all.
And it's been successful. I mean, we're just talking about the 2025 season, but it's been successful for a long time since we were there, Rod. I mean, it kind of kicked off with Sean and Casey. Sean Rogers and Casey Hampton, and then you had Marcus Tubbs and then going through the ranks.
Right now,
yeah, and yes, Brian Arakpo. He was more of an end, not a D tackles. If you're talking about
track, Rod Wright and Ocam and Loki, and I mean, I don't know. I guess I could just kind of go off every 2 or 3 years. Texas, I mean, they're gonna produce an NFL D tackle somewhere along the way. So,
man, then we got a lull in there with the whole team that didn't do very well.
That's fair.
Well, but it's let's say Lamar Houston. Let's say that we were DBU DTU at the same time. So
no respect on that, no doubt about it. All right, so do you now that Texas finished in the portal, looks like I don't say finish. They still may add something here and there, who knows? But for the most part, like we think they got everything done here in the portal. Would you can you give them a grade? Portal performance.
I was thinking about this, man. I think that I like everything that we've done. You go in the season and dance with who bought you, right? So that's what we're gonna do. But because we lost out on some people in the beginning, that puts it down to like a B-. If you're at the University of Texas, we're cocky enough to think that whoever we want, we're gonna get.
I like that.
We missed out on some guys, so I think that we did really, really well in the portal. But because we missed out on guys, I can't give it an A. I got to give it a B-, and we lost on some big names that we really wanted too. So So because we got what we needed, it's a high grade, but I can't give it all the way high because we missed out on some things that we wanted.
We're doing
that makes sense.
It's fair.
No, I think that's definitely fair, right? On top of the Michigan offensive lineman, it took a while to get a running back that you truly wanted. I will say this, and Rod, I put this up on the site earlier. I think a guy like Bo Masco, Ian Giffard, 2 guys that probably aren't at the very top of the list whenever it comes to, excitement. Cam Coleman, who's not going to be most excited for him, right? Or the 2 first-team all-conference running backs. How do you not get more excited for those guys? But that's kind of the diamonds in the rough that you find. And I mean, I can envision it now. Giffard is going to fit right into what we just talked about with DTU and those goal line stops, which had been so important over the last. I mean, how do you move a 380-pound nose tackle? I don't think you can.
You don't pork chop. Don't pork chop.
Yeah, exactly. I know folks look at it. How do you bring in a defensive lineman from Arkansas? Well, I don't think it was up the middle. It wasn't the A gap that was allowing 450, 600 yards a game. That was everywhere else, right? So I think specifically those two guys, I think they did a fantastic job finding immediate fits and experience to come in. I gave it a B+. Again, it's not an A because of what you just said, Stevie. It was too long. You missed out on too many top guys, but they redirected. They found some guys, I think, that were hidden gems, or at least found a destination that, the sunset still looks pretty at one way or the other. But overall, I think this team should be in good hands.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they got everything that they needed. Now it's time to actually make your money and put everybody in the right positions and go and win some games. Right. So your puzzle pieces are together. Now put the strategy together and go win. So I'm putting the pressure on the coaches right now because we got talent.
Yep. I agree with you on that. All right, Steve, we won't keep you too much longer, man, because I know you worked a full day at work, and wifey's probably like, hey.
We sitting on the couch watching our show right now. She's like, she's like, don't you need the podcast? Like, dang, man, come on. Yes.
I already know. I'm about to say, get that quality time. Tell her we said thank you very much for letting you come hang out with us. We appreciate it.
Appreciate it, guys. We'll talk to y'all soon. I'm gonna go back and watch Homeland.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, that's a great show.
I'm on season 2 right now.
Bro, me and wifey watched the whole damn thing during COVID, basically. And it took us like a week to watch the whole show, like the whole series. It was great.
I'm working, so it's gonna take me a long time. But
yeah, it's great. It's worth your time though. It's good stuff. Yeah.
All right, guys. Look.
Thanks, Stevie.
Yeah. Yeah. That was actually a good show. Not gonna lie. Have you seen that, CJ?
No, I gotta put it on the list.
Showtime, I think, but it was actually pretty good. We were just looking for something randomly to watch because everybody was stuck in the house. End up finding the gym. All right. Thank you to Hargrove Roofing, by the way. Our friend Stevie Lee joins us courtesy of Hargrove Roofing, and we appreciate them as well. 512-645-3202. They're the most pro burnt orange roofing company out there, but they have offices all over Texas, Louisiana, and Arkansas. But they show a lot of love to the Longhorns, and you can check them out at hardgroveroofing.com. They are very trustworthy folks. My man Stevie Lee has great partnerships with them. We do as well. And I've actually met the fine folks over at Hargrove Roofing too, so I can vouch for the character of them. Great folks, and you can put your trust in them. That's hardgroveroofing.com. They actually offering a free roof inspection today if you reach out at 512-645-3202. All right, let's get back to it. Let's hit some questions. How about all right with a super chat? Thank you very much. We appreciate it. It says, fun fact, more than 50% of the 2026 roster, 43 of 84, is from outside the state of Texas. That's a damn good nugget.
That is.
I like that. I mean, at this point, do we think this is going how it's going to be going forward though, right? The Mac Brown day and Coach Coach probably can speak to this better than anybody. What do you think that was when you were on the 40 acres, Coach? And
there was a time. So I was with Mac his last year, but there was a time prior to that 100% of the players on the roster or scholarship were from the state of Texas. And but you can't nowadays you cannot compete nationally with a roster full of Texas players as good as they are. High school football has risen across the country to a level that you have to recruit across the country. Yeah. And Texas is doing that now, and that's a good thing. But it doesn't matter where they're from. We got to get some GoDaddies, as we say. Yeah. Wherever they're from. Mac was always big on the Texas high school coaches and making sure they're happy and all that stuff. And there was a long time where Mac wouldn't hire a guy in the position that he hired me as, which was an analyst, because he would make 10,000 high school coaches mad. That's what he would say.
Wow.
And, you hire one high school coach, you're going to piss off everybody else in the state. So anyway, he was really, really worried about his reputation among Texas high school coaches. And rightfully so, because Texas was playing better football than any other state in the country. But now you've got great talent all the way across the 50 states, and so you go get them wherever you can. And Texas is obviously a nationwide brand that's very recognizable.
Yeah.
Yeah. On top of that, Coach, I mean, with kids, I mean, we saw this with, Nebraska when they left, and they left, the state of Texas, that recruiting territory, they'd take a hit. Whereas I think other schools are looking at Texas saying, hey, how can we get a chunk of that? So if you're having to battle against the Alabamas, the Georgias, the Ohio States, Clemson, every cycle felt like they were taking a top 20 or top 25 guy in the state as well. Well, if you're stuck taking only the kids from the in-state, well, not only are you battling A&M and Tech and Oklahoma and SMU and Baylor, but you're battling everyone else. So you got to go outside the state these days. And I think, this staff does a great job. And Rod, this comment you made, I mean, it always kind of stuck with me, right? Finding guys that played for Texas, not just at Texas, because there's still value in that. So finding the right mix of national guys, right, and kind of teaching them or, allowing them to understand what it's like to play for Texas, and then the guys on the in-state who would live and die to be in, that burnt orange. I think that's something that is ultimately, regardless of who or where or what year it is, there's always going to be value in that, because then you end up with a guy like a Michael Taft or Connor Robertson who stick around 5 years, put their heart and soul into the program, and it ends up benefiting pretty tremendously down the stretch.
Yep. Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think Coach is right to it. It's a different era of recruiting. I mean, Mack Brown, he was the last, I always say he's the last one to rule the Iron Throne of Texas, meaning he would get his pick of the best players. And basically all he had to do was kind of beat out A&M for the other top guys. And pretty much everybody else would get what he didn't want. Like he'd get the top guys, monopolize them.
Yeah.
And he lost that monopoly, by the way, after Texas kind of fell off. Matt couldn't walk in those households anymore and go, we're the best football program in the state. Couldn't say that because they weren't necessarily the best football program in the state. That wasn't the truth anymore. And they didn't have that dominance. So he had to, then the state ended up becoming kind of this wide open, like it was the Wild Wild West, because nobody really ruled the state of Texas anymore. Right? No, there was all these. Remember, at one point he would say, "Hey, U of H was the best program." Hey, at one point Baylor was the best program. One point, and then because of that, all the other national big brands start coming into Texas, Oregon, Ohio State, Notre Dame. Like, hey, man, ain't nobody down there really. Ain't nobody running Texas, so let's go down there and go steal some of that talent. And they did. They came.
I will say that it's no coincidence that when Mac lost that grip on the state was when the internet and social media started exploding.
Yep.
But there was no internet before, really social media before that. So you didn't have all the hype from the other schools online that you have now. I'm talking about, you start hitting around 2000 and early 2000s, that there really wasn't much presence in social media, so it was a brand, and then when everybody got their brand out there on social media, then it exploded on the national scene and everybody started coming in and getting Texas players.
Hey, Coach, talk about this for a little bit, because social media obviously made everybody more accessible across the country, coaches, players, recruits, everything, trainers. But before then, was it just as simple as, hey, I got my, huddle, my tape burnt to a CD and I just shipped it to the universities? Or
that's exactly right. No, that's what it was. And no, that's what it was. Yeah. In fact, that was really kind of a big deal to start when they stopped using 16 millimeter film and started going to the VHS tapes. I remember that because back when I first started recruiting, they just started having VHS tapes. And so you'd have to send them in the mail, and get them out. And so guys weren't nearly as accessible as they were when the internet exploded. And you could just click on a link and, check out any guy all the way across the country or check out any program across the country. And it just totally changed the landscape of college recruiting.
Now, with that, Coach, would y'all hold on to the recruits that you liked? Like, I don't know, was it an unwritten rule to share tape across the country, or or with other schools? Is there, a back and forth there at all? Or is it like, hey, if, I got this tape from a kid, I really like him, I don't want anyone else to know about him, this tape's going nowhere? How did that work?
Yeah, no, well, there was a time when it was somewhat like that because, a kid or a coach could only send out so much tape, people could get it. But like I said, whenever it came to where you could just click on a link and see a kid, then everybody came into Texas and started recruiting. And the recruits also had access to more online stuff of the colleges across the country as well. And that's when the explosion occurred. And that's when Texas started recruiting nationwide, because they couldn't keep those kids at home anymore, because that brand had exploded, of the brand of Texas high school football, in the way, the Friday Night Lights and all that stuff, just really exploded the talent in Texas at a nationwide level, in my opinion.
That's just such a great point, Coach. And at that time, and that's when Texas kind of started to fall off for a little while. You said the internet blows up, social media blows up, and then some programs in the state started to have like really good years when Texas wasn't either. And so it did. You're right. I never thought about that, Coach, about the explosion of social media. I never put that into the equation, but man, you hit the nail on the head there. Great point. All right, let's get back to a couple of questions. Oh yeah, Antoine wants to know, was Bruce Chambers the first high school coach hired by Mac? I think he was.
I think he probably was. Yeah, and that was a great hire, by the way. Great hire out of Dallas Carter. Was an assistant coach for Dallas Carter during the Friday Night Lights era, of Odessa Permian and Carter beating them. And then he became the head coach of Dallas Carter. And it really gave Mac a great foothold in Dallas area for recruiting. And that was true the entire time Bruce was on staff. Everybody and all those coaches and those parents in Dallas trusted Bruce Chambers. And who's still, I think, active. I think he's still assistant athletic director at Arlington ISD, I believe. Okay. Unless he's retired recently. He just keeps going. But he's actually the one when I announced my retirement and told Sark I was going to retire to help take care of my wife, Bruce is who I called, because Sark said, okay, stay with me through this spring and help me find a replacement. And Bruce is the guy that we called. And so Bruce wound up giving us names, because Coach was wanting to get a stronghold back in Dallas, Fort Worth. Yep. And so we wound up, being able to do that and get a guy to replace me from the Dallas area. And that has really helped Texas in their recruiting of, Dallas, South Dallas, especially.
That's fast.
That's good stuff, Coach. All right. Thank you for that. How about this one? Since Coach is on the heater, let's give it to him. Doug Haywood says, good evening, gentlemen. Coach Shipley, prayers to you and the family. Very kind of you, Doug. Says, question for you, Coach. In your evaluation of the current Longhorn roster, which position would you think needs to be strengthened? Thank you for the question, Doug.
Well, both sides of the line always have to be strong. There's no doubt about that. And I think we've done a good job of, although it wasn't exactly as we hoped it'd be, getting the offensive line to the point where we feel really good about, the protection Arch has, and, providing running lanes for our running backs. It's going to continue to be the offensive defensive line. Those are the two mainstays that we have to continue to attack and to be the point of emphasis, and getting the other players around. Those edge guys are huge. The linebackers are huge. But I think the offensive and defensive linemen are what's going to make or break the future of our program, because we've had a lot of success with defensive backs. We've had a lot of success with receivers. We've had some success with running backs as well. But those offensive defensive linemen are the ones that are going to keep the program trending in the direction that it needs to go.
Yeah, no, I agree. In the SEC, it's a line of scrimmage league. Can't have enough depth on the offensive and defensive lines, and you need You're gonna need 4 D tackles. You probably gonna need how many 7, 8 man offensive line rotation if you can get it, guys. At least you trust. So I agree, Coach. The depth on the lines of scrimmage is probably what needs to be strengthened because you lost a lot of your depth on the line.
Yeah,
that left, right? And your depth on the defensive line, like maybe unproven is the best kind of word for it. It's talented. Especially how your backup D tackles behind like January, Canoe, and Jafrod. Those are your top guys. But the depth of those guys, Texas likes to rotate 4 or 5 D tackles. They can get them. So I agree with Coach on that. Depth.
Yeah.
CJ, your thought? Any disagreement or disagreement, but at least add to what Coach is saying?
No, I mean, look, you can never have enough depth on either offense or defensive line. You never have enough. I think Texas did a fine job on the defensive line. I think there's depth there. I think there's high-end guys there. I think you have a lot of promise. I think you have a lot of guys that are suited for 2026 and beyond, and that's fantastic. The offensive line, you lose 5 guys to the portal this cycle. It's the most that you've lost at any point under Sark and Flood, right? So having to need to go get top-end guys once again, as well as finding a Jonte Newman or finding a Dylan Sikorsky so that you could find ways to build a 2 and a 3 deep, very important. The one spot I'm still looking at saying I don't know if it's a fully finished product yet. Safety. I wrote about it a little bit today. Look, you're going to be very thin in the safety room this year, right? No Jonah Williams. He's going to be playing baseball. Xavier Filsaime just went through shoulder surgery a couple weeks ago. What does that room look like? Well, we can kind of put together kind of a 2 deep, right? That's what you'd expect with Jelani McDonald. Derek Williams returning is huge. Behind him, Jordan Johnson, Rubel, Zealous Hicks. And then who's behind him, right? I think it's going to be Teray Davis. I think Yaheem Riley is going to be a guy in the mix. Maybe Hayward Howard. But that's basically how it goes, right? That's all you've got for those 2 spots. Do any of them factor into playing a big nickel as well? We don't know. But that's something that I'm looking at saying, okay, if there was a spot for a grad transfer or if there was a spot for Texas to go out there and add one more piece to, it'd be the safety room in my eyes.
That's good. Yeah. I was a little surprised they didn't add another secondary piece. Bo Masco liked that move. I'm a Bo Masco fan. I was a little surprised they didn't go get somebody who was either somebody who played a ton of star and slot or somebody who was predominantly a safety that could play the deep third for you, and that can play a middle field safety, the guy that could do that. Because, I'm with you. I think there's you got a lot of talent there, but it's unproven for a lot of those guys.
There's not a lot of experience.
Yeah, and I don't know if they're so you say Xavier Filsaime, is he going to be practicing for the spring?
Depends on how quickly he's able to rehab from shoulder surgery. Because that was something that he would always wear the brace. Like if you go back and you look about second half of the season, he had one of those little straps, one of the harnesses on his arm. He played through it, and then after the bowl game, he got it cleaned up. So I don't know how long that will take, but it's something that I'm sure they'd want to kind of err on the side of caution for in the spring.
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how many of those guys get reps and get, on Muschamp's good side, pretty much.
And, we won't know until the first game. First few games, we won't know because, there's not really a spring game anymore. You can't see how guys are progressing and, who's playing, who's not playing, until we get in the first couple of games of the season. Unfortunately, I always enjoyed the spring game. I thought it was a time for kids to kind of show out and kind of, check the pulse of the team, see where you're at talent-wise and scheme-wise. But, we don't have that luxury anymore. That window is gone.
Yeah.
And so you don't know until, it's for real.
I agree with you on that. Yeah.
Which I think a lot of us got caught by surprise with the offensive line because we just assumed they were going to be okay. We didn't know because we didn't have this, spring game to look at them.
No, you're right. And I think the coach, it's fair to say, it seems like the Texas coaching staff was caught a little off guard too. They didn't really have an accurate kind of eval of what that offensive line was going to end up being. If they did, I think they had approached things a little bit differently. But They got some things figured out during the season. All right, good stuff there. How about this one from this one's from user 6381 says, how do you feel about the LSU game next year? This game is so interesting for so many reasons.
Yeah,
there's a Sark Lane Kiffin thing, and because they got some buddy. All right, so there's that. You got that backstory. We talk about how Texas and Louisiana, neighboring states in Texas, now recruiting a lot of Louisiana, them being one of the more fertile recruiting grounds in the country. And so that is one of the backstories. And LSU had the #1 portal acquisition class, if I'm not mistaken, nationally in most people's rankings. Texas was in the top 5. I think Texas was like 4, depending on what you're looking at, 4 or 5, something like that. But they had the #1, and they got a lot of difference makers early on. So I don't, CJ. There's so many storylines. I mean, I probably got 3 of them, but there's more than that. I mean, there's a
man
of them in this game.
Yeah, I mean, this is the game of all storylines in 2026. I mean, Texas LSU, Texas finally back in Baton Rouge against LSU in the swamp, in Death Valley. I mean, that was something that Texas fans were robbed of a few years ago because of COVID, right? Yep. You get Sark, you get Lane, you get Sam Leavitt facing Texas again, a team that ended their, what might you consider to be a Cinderella run in the playoff 2 years ago. So I think it's everything. It's the Manning family from New Orleans going back to Louisiana, a place where Peyton never played, and Eli only had 1 win against LSU. So, no, it's fantastic and above anything else. And this is something that I've thought about quite a bit, because what will LSU defensively look like this year? I don't know. All right, I haven't done too much of a deep dive, but I know that they brought in 2 5-star freshman defensive linemen. I know that they went out and added guys out of the portal. On the other side, what's their offensive line look like? You bring in Jordan Seaton, the #1 offensive tackle in all the portal. You got yourself a pretty good left tackle. So they went out and said, we're all in when it comes to LSU's first year under Lane Kiffin. And if you're Texas sitting there saying, oh boy, we get to go on the road to Neyland, we get to go to Missouri, we get to go to Kyle Field. Well, that #1 game of the year is probably going to be on the road against LSU if I had to pick.
Man,
it's going to be fun.
It is going to be fun. Coach, I had planned on going to the return trip. That was made our plans and everything. Obviously, COVID changed the world and, of course, changed our plans. But that was one of the games I was definitely going to. A lot of Longhorn fans going to be trying to make that trip. It's a doable trip for you. Even if you're a baller on the budget, you can make that trip happen. And I got to feel a lot of Longhorn fans, even the ones who ain't going to the actual game, because of the tailgating scene is supposed to be so legendary for LSU. A lot of Longhorn fans go down there just for a little tailgating too. That's going to be a wild scene. And LSU fans, by the way, classy bunch. Now, everybody may not agree, but when they came to Austin, we hosted several functions with LSU fans, and they ain't gonna lie, they was a pretty classy bunch. But my people are swamp people, so my family, mom and dad, are from Louisiana, so maybe I just ain't offended by, Louisiana folk.
And they like to have a good time.
Yeah, that's how I feel. They was cool. I thought they invited me to. I got invited to like 5 different tailgates. I had plans and they're ready to go. So I thought they was. I don't know. You ever had any interaction with LSU fans, Coach?
No, not really. But you add the fact that that's Arch Manning's home state. It just makes it that much more. So outside the obvious OU A&M. It's the #1 matchup of the season, followed closely by Tennessee for other Manning-related reasons. It's going to be a really fun season.
Yeah, no, I guess. I see y'all say y'all haven't met too many classy LSU fans. I was going to say, maybe I just met the classy ones. I apologize. Maybe they ain't exposed to actual LSU fans, so I'll admit that. They were the ones, but the ones, we had like 2 different parties that weekend, and it was like half LSU fans, and they was in a good mood. They were gracious. They were nice. And you know what? I will say this. They didn't know they was going to be good yet either. Remember, at that time, they didn't know Joe Burrow was going to be Joe Burrow.
Right.
They didn't know that. They was just Joe Burrow. We like this guy. Remember, people were saying at the time Sam Ehlinger was like just as good, not better than Burrow at the time. That was the narrative. You got to go back in time and go back like that. People were like, Texas may have the quarterback advantage here.
And say, hey, Sam might have outplayed him.
You know what I'm saying? Like that was, remember that CJ? People were like, I think Texas may have it. It's not a big quarterback advantage for LSU in this matchup. Then Joe Burrow becomes Joe Burrow. So
yeah, he had some pretty good receivers. He had some pretty good receivers too.
He did, Coach.
Yeah, he did. He was still also pretty good, but you're right. He did.
Yeah, no, he was.
And he had a running back that could catch out of the backfield.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I mean, he did have two first-round receivers.
Yep.
Jamar and Justin. Goodness. Yeah, that was a nasty. Yeah, that LSU offense, did that become the new standard of the great offenses in college football?
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah, what's the greatest offense of all time?
Is it better than Sark's offense at Bama?
Yes.
Yes. What happened to that offensive coordinator? I know he went to the NFL. Has he ever done much since then? He was young.
Oh yeah, Joe Brady's not a coach of the Bills, ain't he?
He's the head coach of the Bills. Was named that about a week ago, Coach. So
I didn't realize.
Baby. Timely because he made a quick rise. It was odd too because he joined Matt Rule's staff originally with the Panthers.
Yes.
And the Panthers flopped, right? Yep. Matt Rule did not have a good tenure in Carolina. Joe Brady was kind of looked at and said, I don't know if this is the guy that, we necessarily see his offense translating to the NFL. Remember, he had Sam Darnold for a year. He had Baker Mayfield for a year, ran both of those guys out of town. And then, 2 years ago, he was named the offensive coordinator with the Bills. You start seeing the ascension once again of Josh Allen after Daboll leaves, and you're sitting there saying, okay, this guy's got something figured out, and they gave him the reins to the Bills, and we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I forgot all about the Matt Rule experiment. That's how. So he actually had a fall off from grace.
It was ascension, and then just right back off the roller coaster,
and then went right back on it when he got on the Josh Allen train. So I don't know if that's. I don't know what thinking. I like Joe Brady. I've always liked Joe Brady though. I always liked him, and even when he got to LSU, I was saying Joe Brady things. I remember saying Texas needs to steal what Joe Brady's doing.
Yeah,
like, go more empty formation. Because even with Sam, because Bam Bam Sam was great out of empty formation as a scrambling quarterback, scrambling threat. And I remember the time saying, man, I love what Joe Brady did at LSU.
And personnel.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. So turns out, hey, it's working. It's still working. And even in the league. All right. Good stuff there. All right. Before I know we're getting close to the end of things, so we got a couple more questions that we'll dive into. And I want to get that Matt Miller mock draft just really quickly too. So G-Town Eagles up next. Says, hey, Rod, what do you think about using Jelani similar to how Houston uses Petrie? Oh, I love Jalen Petrie. I'm a Texas fan, so I watch a lot of him at that star position. And basically, they're playing him now at that nickel position, and he's awesome. I think he's a better coverage guy, a coverage specialist than maybe Jelani McDonald. But they both have ball hawking instinct, which is why you could play Jelani. He played that big nickel. No, you could. I think Muschamp will move him down into the box, and he will be more active in Muschamp's defense than even he was with PK's defense. I say that. Wasn't he the leading tackler on the team? Didn't he end up being the leading tackler? I believe. Did he lead you in tackles and takeaways?
And what was it, 3 interceptions?
Yeah. So I act like he didn't already prove that, but I think he'll be even more active. But the thing is, how much do you want to play him in the big nickel role? I do think there are times where you can use him in the big nickel role, and I'd like to see him there. But I don't know. Obviously, matchup-wise, that would be, I think, based on what Muschamp sees. Like, you don't want him exposed in coverage a ton. But I'd like to see him work the big nickel. I think he does have a skill set that would allow him to do that. Or if you ran that, basically big nickel is a 3 safety package out there, or your safety that you move to a nickel. I think there's room for that in the Texas, like in their secondary, and maybe bump Grayson Lowson out to a corner or something when you do that, depending on how you want to get your best 5 on the field.
Yeah. No, I was wondering that because, I guess it depends on how quickly a Jonah Williams can get up to speed, how much you trust him. Because, right, Derek Williams, should he be 2 years removed from that ACL, you feel better, right, about what he will contribute. But I always wonder, do you trust what you have in that room to then move Jelani from his best position down elsewhere, right? I think that's something that you got to work on in the spring. And, that's why I hope Xavier Filsaime is fully healthy, because that's a guy that would then allow you to move Jelani around or move Jonah around or whatever the position fit might be. I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, you're right. You need somebody to help you stabilize that position if you want to move him around as a chess piece. I agree 100% on that.
Thanks for the chat, Georgetown Eagle. Here's the crazy thing. Art Briles was a head coach at Georgetown High School in the mid 86, 87, 85, something before he went to Stephenville. Art Briles was the head coach at Georgetown. I was at Little Burnett High School. We played Georgetown. In fact, when my brother was in school, I think they were in the district, and now they've got like 80,000 people. But most people don't realize he wasn't there for long, but Art Briles was the head coach at Georgetown High School.
I didn't know that.
Is that not crazy?
I didn't
He
know
goes to Stephenville and wins like several state championships.
Why did he leave?
A side note, they weren't. They actually, when I was coaching at Temple High School as an assistant, they beat us and legendary coach Bob McQueen, who I worked for. And they were running crazy stuff that nobody had ever seen before. I mean, I remember they lined up 4 receivers like in an I formation, just like one guy on the line of scrimmage, 3 guys off the line of scrimmage. I mean, it was crazy stuff they were running, and nobody knew how to adjust to it. But he went from there to Stephenville, and then of course won several state championships at Stephenville. They went on to Texas Tech and the assistant coach, and then Houston as the head coach, and Baylor and so on. But Art Briles was the Georgetown Eagle head coach, believe it or not.
That's a hell of a factoid, coach. I
didn't know that.
Great trivia question, randomly, because I did not know it. Actually, I wonder why he ended up leaving. I mean, he could have changed Georgetown forever.
I don't know. Yeah, but he made it happen at Stephenville. I know that.
Got a stadium named after him over there in Stephenville.
Exactly. Right. Nobody can stop it at Stephenville either, coach. No. All right, let's thank our lead sponsor one more time before we end things tonight. Thank you to our friends over at Vaughn Lane. Really appreciate them and all their support of On Texas football. I know a lot of you out there are getting back to the packed travel calendars, back to the packed schedules as well, and back to the meetings and the conferences. Well, a lot of you out there are doing this the hard way, right? You're working harder, not smarter, all right? You're actually flying shorter routes in between major Texas cities or in this region, or you're driving yourself hours between cities and dealing with traffic and road rage and arriving there with, a jet lagged and probably a little tired and irritable and dealing with TSA and flight delays. Don't worry about that. Our friends over at Vaughn Lane, they offer a first-class travel experience on the ground. You board in minutes at a private hotel terminal, settle into one of just 22 oversized leather seats, and enjoy complimentary Wi-Fi, snacks, beverages, and hot towel service on every trip. On select departures, our friends over at Vaughn Lane also offer complimentary meals as well. And right now, they're upgrading their entire fleet with Starlink internet across the entire fleet, making their Wi-Fi even faster and more reliable. Vaughn Lane serves Austin, Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, Fort Worth, Plano, the Woodlands. They also serve Nashville, Memphis, Atlanta, and Knoxville. And if you're traveling with a team, you can charter your own Vaughn Lane, design the trip from pickup to drop off. Visit VaughnLane.com, VONLANE.com. And if it's your first time riding, you can enter the code OTF26 at checkout to receive $20 off your first trip with Vaughn Lane. That's Vaughn Lane, your private jet on wheels. Thank you very much to our friends over at Vaughn Lane. Really quickly, before we get out of here, Oregon Coach Longhorn had a quick question for you, CJ. How many football scholarships are we going to give in 2027?
That's a good question. And I think what you're going to end up seeing Texas do is utilize more of the developmental track, right? And to rehash, Texas went out and added Kade Haug out of Kingwood, Texas, 6'1.5", 220 pounds. He joins the Longhorns this evening as their newest recruit or commit. They're up to 5 in the class. But when you start looking ahead to how they can fill out 105, well, you're going to have to find guys that are diamonds in the rough, someone that's taking a chance on themselves to go play in the SEC and prove that they belong. And that's kind of how I see them fill up. I don't know what the number is going to be in the 27 class, but when it comes to how many roster spots they have available, I think by my numbers, they're sitting at 88, maybe 89. So there's plenty of room to then go out and add 5 or 6 if they wanted to out of the grad transfer. I'm not saying they're going to, but there's plenty of room to do exactly that, which means moving forward into constructing the 2027 roster, you have plenty of room to operate because, again, you're going to have to go through retention, more portal departures next year, and, of course, the NFL draft is going to be absolutely stacked from Texas in 2027.
Yeah, kid's highly productive too. To come full circle, Kade Haug over 300 something tackles in his 3 years there at Kingwood. I mean, he's going to end up, if he doesn't get hurt, he's going to end up with 400 tackles. For his high school career, which is just a crazy stat. Actually, I think Joe Jack wanted to know why they're playing him on the edge earlier. We were watching some huddle of this young man. I think Texas likes their linebackers to have edge rusher value.
I agree.
They seem that seems to be a commonality between a lot of their linebackers that they bring in. That they can do that as a part of their game. That's right. A matter of fact, this is a great way to segue to this. Matt Miller has his 2-round mock draft, the latest 2-round mock draft. You guys know I love mock drafts, and we'll end it on this too. He has only one Longhorn being drafted in his 2-round mock draft, and he's got Anthony Hill being drafted. But I will say that he has Anthony Hill being drafted in the first round. So a lot of folks have Anthony Hill kind of dropping out of the first round, and he's got Anthony Hill going 30th in his latest mock draft. Sorry, my phone acting crazy. He's got going 30th here. Thank you to the Broncos, which is it'll be an awesome spot. Honestly, it'd be the perfect spot.
Add another Longhorn to the already long list of Longhorns on Denver at the moment. But Rod, correct me if I'm wrong. This feels like one of the first mock drafts with Anthony Hill back in the first.
Yes. Yep. It is.
Because it felt like for a while, early in the years, he's a lock, right? He's going to go anywhere from 15 to 32. He's going to be in the first round. And then over the last probably 3 months or so, that's okay. Second round, middle of the second round. He won't fall to the third. Sure as hell not.
Yeah.
But his name kind of fell out of that first round conversation. And I think that goes to the point that we've talked about a few times is, was he used correctly to maximize how the NFL looks at him? I think we all kind of agree, maybe not.
Yep. And even here he talks about Hill's 17 career sacks indicate that he could have a future on the edge, but he doesn't have full-time defensive end size, 6'3". So they talk about kind of what you just, hinted at, that maybe he was underutilized there in Texas and has a higher ceiling in the NFL.
The combine will absolutely help. Absolutely. Yeah, he's going to be a guy that tests very well. And I'll tell you why. His junior spring back in, goodness, what was it, 2021 maybe? Is that 2022? The math, I don't know.
Yeah.
The 2020, maybe even the 2020 spring. I couldn't tell you. But I go up to Denton Ryan, and they're doing a testing day. And I've told this story before, but, they got the laser track out there. They got all the bells and whistles. And, at the time, they say, hey, any numbers you hear here, keep them, in-house. But as a guy that's about to get drafted in a couple of months, I feel like I can share this now. At 237 pounds, 6'3", a junior in high school, he ran a 4.59 laser. And I can only imagine that number's increased over the last 4 or 5 years. So that is, I always thought was pretty remarkable. He's now 245 pounds. He's going to light it up.
Laser time? Damn, that's impressive.
No giving on those.
Yeah, right. Nice. Great stuff there, CJ. All right, thanks to Matthew behind the scenes. He's the real MVP. Nobody does it better. Thanks to each and every one of you out there for the super chats and the questions. We really value your participation. Thanks to Coach. Thank you for the wisdom. Great stories, Coach. Great stuff. Thank you, CJ. Appreciate all your expertise and knowledge. If we missed any of your questions, please direct them to the gentleman at Coffee and Football, bright and early tomorrow morning, 8:15. You have the man, the myth, the legend himself, Bobby Burton, along with the estimable Jerry Hamilton, the one and only. And also, we'll have a Tuesday night live stream, but I will be a part of it. So I'll be on there with CJ. CJ now will be hosting the Tuesday night live stream at 7:15. So we'll have a lot of fun with that one. For CJ and for Coach and for Matthew, I'm Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers. Until next time, hook 'em horns.